It's time to get your morning started with the news you need to know.
News update.
This is what's trending with DJ and PK. Hashtag Utah Jazz.
Cody Williams tries to hand off to Ace Bailey. They misconnect, and Bailey gets it back, bobbles. Steph Curry throws it to himself off the glass and brings it down for two. Aces are wild.
The league fined you guys right before the game. Do you have any thoughts on that fine?
No.
Well, I'm not sure I believe that. As a matter of fact, I know I don't believe that. I also don't blame him for not sharing his thoughts. No? Wrong answer. Yes, I have thoughts, and I don't want to share them because more people will get fined. We're just moving on. That's what I think he's thinking. Jazz are moving on to the All-Star break. It's go time now. They're all done with the portion of games before the break. They lost to the Blazers 135-119. Started a super small lineup. No marketing. No use of Nurkic. Obviously now we know no Jaren Jackson Jr. for the rest of the season. So they battled for a while, but they didn't have the size and they lost, which is what they wanted to do. So there you go.
Yeah, the story isn't the game. Who cares about
the game? The story is about the tanking.
Right.
$500,000 fine to the Jazz related to roster management in recent games for conduct.
The question should have been
detrimental to the league.
What are your thoughts on the fine? Not do you have any thoughts? Because you walk Hardy right into saying no.
Nope. They're fined because against the Magic and the Heat on February 7th and 9th, they took out the two top players in the fourth quarter and did not return them to the game. Personally, I don't think they should have been fined for that Heat game. Should have just been fined for the Orlando game. You can play whatever lineup if you want, and you win. If you win, you're not tanking. That doesn't even make sense. If they want to ding them for Orlando, then ding them for Orlando. There's a lot of things in this that don't make sense to me. The biggest one is being singled out. I mean, if you want to fine them for tanking, they're tanking, so fine them. But Washington's tanking. Sacramento's clearly tanking. Nothing. Fine everybody who's tanking. We know who they are. Just fine them. The picking teams, that doesn't make any sense at all.
Well, I don't know that the issue is the tanking. It's not which teams are being fined. I mean, you can single out the Jazz, and it sucks that the Jazz are being singled out. Fine, I understand what you're saying. But the issue is tanking, and you need to address the issue rather than some cosmetic
and for that,
virtue signaling fine. Put a sign in your house. That really helps put a sign in your front yard. That really helps the minorities. They don't need your moral support. They need your time and your money to help them in a better life. And so all you're doing is virtue signaling here. You're not doing anything that actually addresses the issue. The issue is, how do we go about several teams tanking, and it seems like they're tanking earlier in the season when the reality is they're tanking in October. It's just more manifest now because the league is getting more attention because the NFL is over. And so ESPN and the like, they can't really talk about the NFL. The NFL right now is in no man's land. The season is over. They've milked everything that they could possibly get out of the 26th season, and we haven't had the combine yet. And then we haven't started the new year for the NFL, which is sometime in March, and then the draft and all that stuff. And so right now, there's not a whole lot to talk about. So the NBA takes center stage, right? And with that, and hockey's off, and the Olympic hockey hasn't started yet, and that doesn't drive as much widespread attention in the U.S. as football in the NBA. So the NBA becomes under focus, is under the microscope. So it seems now is the time to speak about tanking when nothing that the Jazz have been doing has started in the last week or so. It has been going on. It's been going on for 4 years for that matter. And so with that in mind, they're not addressing anything. You can fine anybody whatever amount you want. Now, I'm not making light of the Jazz having to pay $500,000. I'm talking from the league perspective. The league perspective doesn't need the Jazz's $500,000. And so if Brian Smith has to pay it, and that's an exorbitant amount of money to me, it would be life-changing for me, actually, if I had $500,000 tax-free. So I don't make light of that. But the thing is, they've got to address the point here. And the point is the tanking. Whether they find in the Miami game, well, the premise is you didn't play your guys in the fourth quarter. Whether you won or not doesn't matter. So to me, I have no problem with them finding them and pointing out both games, because the premise was you sat your two best players the entire fourth quarter, which is unusual. Whether you win the game or not, Okay, fine. You won the game. You lost the game. What's the difference? So they need to address the issue here. This is putting a Band-Aid on a bleeding body, on a league that has just rapidly devolved into becoming a joke.
They've got to change the draft order. You know, the commissioner needs to go all Taylor Swift. I'm the problem. It's me. You set up a thing where you've rewarded teams. You try to flatten the odds, and all you do is like more teams are like, well, we couldn't be the worst team, but we could be the fourth worst team. So now you got more teams tanking. You set up a system. We may not know who they are. Well, we can probably guess a couple of them. But teams, we don't know exactly who's going to tank next year. We got an idea. We know if they don't change the system, in 5 years we'll have no idea who's tanking. We can just guarantee you people will be tanking. So to find billionaires $100,000 in Indiana and $500,000 in Utah, that is not going to change anything 1, 3, 5 years from now. This is just going to keep happening. It's a structural problem. And it has evolved out of this whole and kind of merged with the whole thing the Spurs started 20 years ago, resting players and roster management because you play so many games. And you realize the games aren't that important to the big goal, which is winning the championship. So there's all kinds of structural things set up here the league has to address. But in the meantime, they find the Pacers $100,000 and the Jazz $500,000. And there you go.
Yeah, I'm not going to just make light of it simply because he's a billionaire. Who am I to say $500,000 is nothing to somebody? I never mess with anyone's money under virtually any circumstances. I'm not going to do that now. Whether he's a millionaire, a billionaire, or makes whatever he makes, that's money out of their pockets, and so I don't take money lightly. It's what makes the world go round. It just is the bigger issue needs to be addressed. And the league, it's been an ongoing problem. And so, everybody's upset here that they're singling out the Jazz, which I fully understand. But it's a league issue, and the league right now has a problem. It is becoming a regular season that is drawing little interest, and the people who are paid by the league will come up and try to drum it up and act like it's a big deal. And they believe that when they did the play-in, we won't have those teams. Well, you're wrong. The play-in has done nothing to add any form of excitement whatsoever. The Mavericks wanted no part of the play-in a couple of years ago, and they sat guys to not even get to an 83rd game. They said, "Nah, we're good." So that didn't work. And the in-season tournament, that works for a week, and then everybody forgets about it by the time Christmas Day rolls around. And they've got some serious issues that they need to address.
Other Jazz news, Ace Bailey named as Cooper Flagg's replacement for tonight's Rising Stars Challenge. He'll be the Jazz's lone representation at All-Star Weekend. He'll be teaming up with former Rutgers teammate Dylan Harper on Team Mello. I didn't even know there was a Team Mello. Well, there you go. All right, it's a little recognition for a young Jazz guy. DJ and PK.
Hashtag NBA.
In transition, LeBron James fighting through waves of defenders, and he gets the roll of the banker. Dallas trying to regain the lead, and Christie turns it over. James, the locomotive to the rim. LeBron James, a spin and finish.
And the whole quote-unquote loyalty thing I think it's overrated. This is a business at the end of the day, and it's a lot of money involved and a lot of decisions that has to be made. Front office, some of them have to do like a job and want to keep their job, so they got to feel like they got to do what's best for, to keep their job, and they trade players. Or if a guy isn't happy and he wants to be traded to somewhere else, then it's a problem. Not even just the NBA, but like people that have normal jobs have those same problems. It's just not magnified.
That's James Harden saying loyalty is overrated. LeBron had a triple-double. There were only 3 games. The James Harden quote, that's the lightning rod for the next 24 hours. There's always another story in the hopper, PK. Tanking story, move over. Here comes James Harden talking about loyalty, a guy who's been on 6 teams and famously has forced his way out of most of them. I suppose his mindset was probably set early on when Oklahoma City didn't want to pay all 3 of their stars and divvy things up, and they moved him on to Houston. Loyalty works in small, isolated cases. Steph Curry, Kobe, Dirk Nowitzki. But for the most part, I think players probably don't want to say what James said, but they probably believe it to a large degree, especially the veterans who get moved.
I don't think anything he said is a big deal. I don't even think it's a story.
I think it's a story, maybe just because there's a vacuum and people need something to talk about. But, yeah, it's a story.
Yeah, you have the ESPN thing on. I doubt they'll even mention it today. I mean, I didn't even know who was saying it. And
well, he was rarely interviewed. You really don't hear his voice a lot. Some voices are just, you hear LeBron and Durant's voice right away, you know who it is, but you hear Harden's voice rarely.
Loyalty is only brought up when somebody believes they're being screwed.
That is exactly when it's brought up. Till then, everything's working out.
Right. It's always a one-way street. They claim it's a two-way street, but
usually
in the business world, it's not. We're all just commodities here. I mean, they literally told me here, if the ratings weren't good enough, I would be gone. I get it.
I know. We all know that.
They love me, and I'm friends with all these people, but I understand how it works.
LeBron had a triple-double, 28, 12, and 10 as the Lakers beat Dallas. Dallas sitting on 19 wins, the Jazz sitting on 18 wins, so worth keeping an eye on what the Mavericks do. And LeBron's 28, 12, and 10 powers them to a 20-point win. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college football.
Ole Miss quarterback Trinidad Chambliss was granted an extra year of eligibility by a state court judge who issued an injunction clearing Chambliss to be eligible in 2026. The judge ruled Chambliss clearly met the criteria to receive a medical redshirt for a sixth season of college football. So, an appeal of the appeal. How long will this play on? But as it stands right now, expect to see Trinidad Chambliss, who was a really good story this year, to see him back next year. 6 years, PK, you just kind of shrug at this point. We were talking earlier this week about the Montana linebackers getting a ninth year.
Well, yeah, I mean, it seems like they're dishing out eligibility seasons like candy at Halloween. So why shouldn't he get one? I mean, didn't the kid from Vanderbilt, didn't he get an extra one last year? Yep. And it seems like it just goes on and on and on. And now with the money involved, why would you want to leave? Yeah. And you can go to the NFL, but this is guaranteed money. In the NFL, there's no guaranteed money. Literally no guaranteed money.
DJ and PK.
Hashtag Utah State.
College football schedule out for the new look Pac-12. We knew about the Utah State Aggies non-conference schedule with games on the road at Washington and Utah as their money games. But the league schedule is out, and because they have fewer teams in the league and everybody's stuck on 11th game and needs one more game on short notice, they're going to flex a bonus league game. Right now, Utah State's scheduled to play Boise State a second time in the season finale, but it's all flexed. They could create some matchup based on the standings or tiebreakers or something that would generate a TV audience and fill the stands, no doubt. So they will figure that out on the fly. A new wrinkle in college football, PK. Flex that last opponent. We'll see. Eventually, I think what we'll see is they'll add a team, and then they won't have the need for that.
Yeah, it's kind of weird.
Yeah, it is. It is. They're going to get Washington State, CSU, and Fresno coming in for league games, and then that fourth game will be flex. So if you're buying tickets, those are the teams you're paying to see in league play.
I would actually just put Utah State and Gonzaga in basketball in that game.
DJ and PK.
Here's Eichel. Now Tage Thompson. Backhand shot up top. He scores! 3-1 United States. Thompson on the power play. Here comes Jack Hughes. Hughes dropping it back off the print behind the back. Matthew Tkachuk. Back to Jack Hughes. Nelson. Score! Wow!
Highlights as the United States beats Latvia 5-1. Men's hockey preliminary round action. Clayton Keller a healthy scratch in game one as the men pick up the win. And Team Canada, the gold medal favorite, 5-0 winners over Czechia. So right out of the gate, the big dogs piling up wins as expected. We will talk with Sam Farnsworth. He is at the Olympics for KSL. You're seeing him on newscasts in the evening. He is going to wake up and join us or stay up and join us. I don't know, sleep cycles all over the place. But he's going to be here at 9 o'clock, and we'll talk Olympics with him then. DJ and PK.
Hashtag college basketball.
College hoops coming up this weekend. BYU honoring Jimmer Fredette. You just heard Dave Rose in the last segment talking about that game. Colorado, 2 o'clock at home. PK, this is, of all the games left on the schedule, this is must-win territory here. This is low-hanging fruit. There's plenty of tough games.
You had Tad Boyle just basically saying he was embarrassed in their last game. I think they got run off the floor by Texas Tech. Him and Jerome Tang over at Kansas State were saying the same things after their game the other night. I think it was on Wednesday. Both of their coaches saying they're embarrassed by their team's effort. Colorado, over the last 2 years, only has one win on the road. That was against lowly ASU earlier this season. So, yeah, I think that it should be a joyous celebration. I don't think that they picked this game by accident to be able to figure, well, you know, the team that they've got coming in and Colorado, they didn't do it last week when it was against Houston, when the game was the bigger story. You never know, obviously, but I think that it's an opportunity to celebrate BYU basketball tradition and the phenomenal run that was the Jimmer Fredette era, and bring back Dave Rose. And everybody knows Dave Rose's health struggles. For all practical purposes, Dave Rose should be deceased by now. But
he's beaten the odds multiple times.
I mean, he's just looked at that. A few years back, they thought he was going to be a goner, and they called up a bunch of people to ask him to make a video to motivate him. And they asked me to do it, and I did it. And they thought it was imminent, and they wanted to give him all the power to rally, and he did, which is Dave Rose, the fighter that he is, an incredible fighter, a battler, scrapper. Everything he got in life, he had to earn. Literally nothing was given to him. And so he'll be on hand, as he should be. Tim Lacombe will be there. I imagine his teammates, Jimmer's teammates, Jackson Emery lives in the area, and Dave Rose was talking about how they're best friends still. And guys like Jackson Emery willingly played a secondary role and let most of the glory go to Jimmer. So guys like Jackson Emery and the rest of them on the team, Charles Abua was on the staff right now, BYU, he was on that team. They will all be out there, and it'll be a glorious afternoon, late afternoon time at the Marriott Center. Yeah, it'll be a fun time.
Saturday night, 6 o'clock. This is unusual. Memphis at Utah State. They had a hole in the schedule. Most teams want time off, but in an effort to make the NCAA tournament and to try to play the numbers game, quad 1, quad 2, all that stuff, Jared Calhoun got Memphis to agree to come to Logan in February. So now it turns out Memphis' season has been a disappointment, underachieving versus expectations. They're 12-12. They're 2-7 on the road, and now they're going to travel halfway across the country and play at elevation in Logan, and what should be bedlam in the spectrum as it usually is. So I assume the Aggies will win this game, but nonetheless unusual to get a non-conference game here in mid-February.
Yeah, and Memphis played last night against North Texas, I think it was. I was watching a little bit of that, get a feel for them, knowing that they were coming into town. And so, yeah, I would expect that would be pretty much an easy win, if not a flat-out blowout.
Yeah, they lost that game at North Texas 76-69. So,
right.
And then the Utes are playing Sunday in Cincinnati. So there you go, college basketball this weekend. We'll talk NBA basketball. David Locke at 8:30, Sam Farnsworth at 9. We'll get to the question of the day next. Stay with us.